he invited the entire animation studio to come there, all like 50 to 100 of them. And he got them all dinner, and there's this famous meeting where he spent 3 hours acting out every single scene.
Come on. Totally, 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 totally not a podcast. Totally, 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 totally not a
He was very like not, Walt Disney, what you think of.
No, yeah, I'm sure he seemed like he was very like meticulous on like what he wanted for all of his films.
Yeah, every little detail.
Yeah, like very meticulous.
We're talking like with Snow White, that's the best part of the book that I read, specifically where it went through, it was a lot of detail on Snow White and how he made that. And that's really the only film that he was involved in, like every minute detail. He thought of the entire story. Like, I didn't realize that, but it truly is a masterpiece. Like, every single frame of that movie was his idea and his vision. And he would do these 3 hour, once basically he came up with the idea, he invited the entire animation studio to come there, all like 50 to 100 of them. And he spent, he got them all dinner, and there's this famous meeting where he spent 3 hours acting out every single scene from beginning to end.
Acting out?
Yeah, he acted out. He did the voices, he did the old lady, he did Snow White.
Wow,
and
I didn't know.
Created this whole story, telling them this journey, which nobody at that point even thought a cartoon could make someone emotional, besides laughing. No one would have ever thought that, bet money on it. It was not a concept that someone could cry watching a cartoon. Now we have movies like Inside Out or whatever that people, or Toy Story 3, like everyone's crying at.
Yeah.
Nobody thought you could do that with a cartoon, that you could emotionally connect to.
Yeah, I know.
And by the end of Snow White, when it premiered, people were weeping because of how, when she dies and just the beauty of the moment, the music. Mm-hmm. And that was so revolutionary. And to think in that way,
no, yeah, he was very
big
meticulous over, what he wanted, especially with Snow White, which was like the first, animated feature film ever made. Mm-hmm. And it was very successful, and it like launched his company like on a whole new level.
Yeah. Well, Mickey Mouse throughout the 30s was already a huge hit, and getting to Mickey Mouse was such a battle that's the most, because I feel like when maybe if I find some success and I read it one day, like I'll be more interested in like another part of the book. But that part building up to Snow White, and the trying to make Mickey Mouse really throughout the 20s, that's where you get this, because he came up with Mickey Mouse later, after when he started his
in his
company.
late 20s, right?
Yeah. So when he started his animation company, they were creating like these Alice in Wonderland live action cartoons, and then they started creating these other like this kind of Felix the Cat ripoff.
Yeah, I heard
and all of these things flopped, and they would get some deals, but for the most part, I mean, to find some success, because it was so competitive, right?
Yeah, especially then.
So then what happened?
Oswald the Rabbit.
Yeah, Oswald the Rabbit, right?
Yeah. Most people don't know about Oswald the Rabbit. Like, even in Disneyland, there's like, as soon as you walk in, there's like a small Oswald the Rabbit place, and then everything else is Mickey, of course. But yeah, Oswald the Rabbit was like the first character that Disney really tried to like sell and become popular. But
yeah, well, it was the first one, his first hit.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is after 6 years of, I think he was in L.A. for 6 years, like trying to make it in his company, and he finally made this character that actually took off. And what happens right when they're doing well is his entire studio turns against him they all team up against him and basically overtake the character and go back to Universal, and they keep the rights, and he loses everything that he worked for. And like that's what's so fascinating. Like it wasn't easy. It wasn't just like to make money or to be successful. That's the thing about Walt. He wasn't looking for that. He was looking for like creative freedom, right? And so that was a huge hit because he had to start from scratch again. But without that, he would have never came up with Mickey Mouse. So that's also interesting.
Yeah, that is interesting to think. Yeah, Mickey Mouse would have never existed if he wouldn't have gotten screwed over with Oswald the Rabbit.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's interesting to think. And he made Mickey Mouse with somebody else, I heard? Or
So
supposedly, the other guy, he takes like complete credit for it.
Ub Iwerks drew
Yeah.
Mickey Mouse, but Walt created Mickey Mouse
Yeah,
on a
Ub
train.
Iwerks.
He was coming back from New York on a train, and he came up with the idea of Mickey Mouse, and he was going to call him Mortimer at first.
Yeah, Mortimer Mouse.
Yeah, and his
What?
wife is
Murderer
like,
Mouse.
his wife is like, I don't think so. We're not.
Sounds like Murderer Mouse.
We're not calling him Mortimer, right?
Martyr
So,
Mouse.
yeah, and so then he's like, "How about Mickey?" So it's his creation, and that's the thing. I mean, it's so interesting. Mickey alone, like the identity of who Mickey Mouse. What is Mickey Mouse? Who is that? And because it was abstract back then too, to have a character. That's what Mickey was so revolutionary as. A character that you can relate to, not like Snow White, but there was an element of like you're rooting for him. You feel good. You feel bad. You feel, and Oswald was a step towards that direction, and he totally innovated with Mickey,
He did, yeah.
including sound, which people have done a lot of. Steamboat Willie. So he saw an opportunity with sound. So it's also about seeing opportunities.
Yeah, exactly. Taking advantage of being able to like push the boundaries in the correct way, and not because like he really wanted to do it for creative reasons, and not because he was trying to be
because we have that question: can anybody become Walt Disney or find that success? Like
no,
but can you if you try hard enough?
You can get close, but you can't do
Because there's that resilience in him.
I think you can reach success if you try hard enough, obviously. Guaranteed. But you can't be Walt Disney. That's a whole other question.
So where does that come from? He's
a genius.
Really, no, but what beyond just like the cop out? What was it? Like I see it in one way, like being able to see opportunities that no one else saw. Like with sound, with color, with feature films, and then the theme park.
I mean, films were very new at the time too, so he took advantage of the fact that all the technological advances, like he added that into his films.
Yeah.
So that was a whole nother thing. So now we can get into Disney has become a very polarizing figure since he died. Some people think he's been accused of being like a Nazi, a racist, anti-Semite, misogynist, like every negative thing in the book. He's just this corporate.
And you'll see it on YouTube comments. Like I'll watch a video on him, and then in the YouTube comments, you get these people that are
F Disney.
Yeah, edgy.
Yeah, Disney.
Walt Disney? Wait, hold on.
Yeah, well,
it's like wow.
Well, a lot of people act like, oh, Disney never did anything. He just hired people to do stuff for him. So he was nothing. Basically, that's a lot of people act,
which just isn't true.
Yeah,
and there's more. I mean, it's so interesting. Honestly, I think it's impossible to reach that success without. And his image is so much more preserved than most people that have reached that level of success.
Yeah.
I mean, if you see
anybody,
anyone that reaches it on their own, they're going to be met with stuff like that. I mean, now you have, like think of any like Kanye West or Elon Musk, Donald Trump, Michael Jackson, like these of the last, if you see what happens to the most famous people in the world, there's always going to be things that, and Walt Disney, honestly, if you look at it, with the amount of success he had and his legacy on the world, obviously the Disney company is trying to.
Well, yeah, we'll get into that. But it's that's not true. He was not an anti-Semite, racist, misogynist. That's like I think a lot of it is they just wanted to capitalize on the fact that he was successful and make some story up so they can make, get some money. And if they don't get some money, they still got the sensationalist aspect.
Yeah, I mean, the anti-Semite thing, I mean, there's no evidence that he even ever said anything anti-Semitic.
Yeah.
Ever. About any... Now, the only thing, one of the sources of the rumor, I think it's from communist propaganda, that that's what it looks like, the magazines that they put out, especially during that time that he was fighting against the unions. Suddenly, all of these stories come out. So, but it's interesting how the
anti-Semite comments.
So he had this this director that was with the company for like 3 decades or something, and I totally forgot his name. I'll put it up here if I find it. But that man supposedly, I guess he was anti-Semitic, and he would say things like indirectly about people, and he would fire certain people that were Jewish, or he wouldn't hire them. So that obviously didn't help, and I think that contributed to it. But it's just interesting how nowadays you get this like controversy.
Yeah, well, it sucks that when you get allegations, it kind of just ruins your life. Even because there's nothing you can do to prevent it. Even if you're innocent, people still look at you in that way, and that happened with Disney after he died. Which sucks. And we should talk about, what's that guy's name? Art Babbit?
Art Babbit.
Babbit?
Yeah.
Art, whatever the heck. So he was a animator for Disney that Disney hired for a long time. And he was he was the highest paid animator in the world by Disney. And obviously Disney had a lot of trust for him. Mm. And he was one of the best. And he helped Disney invent Goofy, I heard. But what happened?
Oh, well, I mean, it's so muddy. I mean, basically things with unions, and Walt was...
He was the head of the unions that were created against Walt Disney.
Yeah, and he turned everyone...
Yeah, he was the head
against, of it. He divided the company and basically almost destroyed the entire company because the amount of fees. They laid off so many people, and really it took away the utopia that Walt was trying to create with his studio. He was always trying to create some place that everyone could be happy and everyone could have a community, and that's kind of what Disneyland became, and then Epcot. But at that time, it was totally about this overthrow of the company by greed. That's what I take it as, and people wanting more money and more.
You think they wanted more money? Well, they were the highest paid animators.
Yeah, the employees wanted more, and they demanded more than the studio could pay. And because of unions and because of the everything surrounding that, it almost tore the whole thing down. So
yeah. I heard the story where Disney was walking out of the studio, and then Art, whatever the heck, Art Babbit, was attacking him verbally and accusing him of all this crap, and then they almost fought. Disney got really angry, and he basically embarrassed him in front of the whole...
Don't embarrass me in front of my friends.
He embarrassed him in front of his entire company, and then he was threatening to fight him. And so, obviously Disney fired him after that. But Art, whatever the heck, went to the Supreme Court of Law, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, Disney was forced to rehire him several times, right? And they never restored their relationship. He was against Disney until he died, and he died in the 90s.
What's your point about Babbit?
What's my point about Babbit?
Yeah, what do you take from Babbit?
He's a a-hole. There's nothing else. He's a prick, man. Babbit was the kind of... I guess he represents the people that are always going to try to tear you down.
Negative energy.
Yeah, he represents that. He's, Satan. And Disney's God.
Wow, dude. That's an extreme. I don't know if I can go with that, dude.
Well, I mean, I'm being extreme.
Yeah, I know.
Pulling with Josh Gonzales, being extreme.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, that's what I take from it. Disney didn't let it get him down, basically. And even though he tried to, put Disney down, he was very clear that he hated Disney until he was, really old. He even said that, so... I mean, that doesn't stop Disney's legacy.